The St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association has come out strongly in support of the extension of the curfew hours for the Easter weekend. According to the recently re-elected Slmda president, Dr. Merle Clark, some of the association's members were calling for a 24-hour lockdown for the Easter weekend.
There's been a lot of talk, particularly on social media, about the new curfew hours for this weekend, this Easter weekend. We want to say categorically that we fully support it. In fact, most of our members had called for more stringent measures. So as an Slmda, the recommendation really had been a 24-hour lockdown over the Easter weekend. So for us, it's actually less stringent than what we would have expected. I think most St. Lucians would have seen the videos in recent time of Pigeon Island in particular. And Pigeon Island is an open area, fairly widely policed, and it's happening. And we know, of course, it's happening because you get the reports in the other communities around the island. We are not there yet. It is not the time to be gathering, not even family gathering should we be having. So just like Christmas should have been a Christmas if a different, that we did not adhere to completely, and we saw what happened in the aftermath of that. It is important that Easter be an Easter if a different. The reality is there are sacrifices that have to be made. We are living through a pandemic. There has to be personal and collective responsibility in all of this, and sacrifices have to be made.
Fresh from the March 27th election, the new executive is just beginning to settle down, a task made easier by the re-election of many of the past members. This, according to Dr. Clark, is a stamp of confidence in the work of the association during what has been one of the more trying times on record for the medical profession.
So our elections were overseen by veteran trade unionists and president of the Trade Union Federation, Mr. Julian Monroe. I was re-elected as president, and there are some other members who were re-elected, so some of our executive is new, some very young members of the executive, and we will be providing and speaking more of our executive members in time to come, but re-elected would be our PRO, Dr. Monique Monplaisy, Dr. Janoma Giffard, our very hardworking junior Dr. Rep. She will now serve in a different capacity, Dr. Tamara Sumay Spencer, anesthetist also. She will continue on as our specialist rep. And of course, as I said, I was re-elected as president. Dr. Martin Plummer will now serve as our vice president. So the experience comes in there, and that's very important. We as an executive, of course, certainly see that with the election of re-election of some of our members, as our members placing faith in the work that we've been doing. The mission statement of the Slmda essentially is to sustain human development in St. Lucia by continually placing the individual and the collective health care expertise of our members at the service of the people of St. Lucia. And we try to stick to that always. In whatever we do, it is important that we put people first.
The medical profession has come under much scrutiny throughout the ongoing pandemic, with the widely publicized mishap involving the amputation of a patient's good limb dealing a blow to the confidence of the public in medical professionals and institutions. Dr. Clark says the new executive will usher in an era of openness in order to better serve the public.
We have a very ambitious outreach program that we do hope certainly during this term to fulfill. So this idea that the Medical and Dental Association and physicians as a whole tend to be very aloof and not reachable, we want to change that. We certainly want to have an open door policy towards the general public, particularly now again, when we're speaking of vaccines and so many questions to be answered, that we want the public to know that we are open to answering those questions because they're reasonable questions. We understand that. So our association can be reached, our secretariat at 451-8441. If any group, a church group, community group, sports groups, would like us to have a meeting via Zoom, of course, just to answer questions, we are willing and open to do that.
The new executive of the Slmda is planning to tackle head-on some of the issues that have been impacting both the image and performance of medical professionals over the years. Stanley Lucian for the HTS News Force.